So I said, Gran, that's not the point. You're not getting it. So anyway, then Gran goes, Tom, have you seen that new Mickey 17 yet? I said, Gran! Okay, Gran, I'm going to say this once. Mickey 17 is a 2025 film. It's directed by Bong Joon-ho, the director of Parasite. It stars Robert Pattinson, and he plays an expendable man in space. Now, every time that Mickey, the expendable man played by Robert Pattinson, dies, they print a new version of him. Yeah? They print a new version of Mickey until we get to Mickey 17. Yes, Gran, I've seen it. Gran, when I saw the trailer for Mickey 17, I thought, ooh. And then I saw some of the reviews that came out initially, and not so good. My fear was that this was going to have that chaotic, everything, everywhere, all at once vibe to it, where literally anything can happen and there's no rules to anything. So it's zany, wacky. We're rocks, now there's eyeballs, and now there's a rat on someone's head, there's a gopher on someone's head. And when there's no rules to your universe, like in those films, it's creatively boring because anything can happen, which means nothing happens, which means it's boring. A lot of the times, creativity or good ideas come from what you can't do. And when you have access to do anything and everything, tends to be bleh, fucking Jackson Pollock mess, just bleh, throw up on a canvas. This film isn't bad for those reasons, but it is bad for other reasons, which I'll get into. This is a muddled, messy, not as clever as it thinks it is romp. It's a comedy, but I would say maybe 10% of the jokes land. This film ends up trying to do so many different things, so it ends up doing none of them well. The first half of the film is let's escape Earth. We've ruined Earth, or our lives at least on Earth. The dead shits are escaping because they're in money troubles, or loan sharks are coming after them, or they've ruined this trial run of Earth, so let's escape and try again somewhere else. Maybe that has some things to say about humanity. How can we avoid getting there? How do we get there? This film was said to be a film about the human condition. Do we get any of that? Not really. Mickey is so desperate to escape Earth that he puts himself down as an expendable. They say, if you read the brochure, Mickey, you sure you want to be an expendable? No one signs up for that. He says, yeah, don't worry about it. My life's so shitty here, I'll do anything to leave Earth. What that means is every time that he dies, they print a new body of him. Sounds like a pretty shitty life. They use him for experimenting. They use him for doing things that no normal human who doesn't want to die would ever do. That sounds like it could be funny, right? Maybe there's some things to be said about the way we value life, or I don't know, the human condition, like Bong Joon-ho said the film was about. Instead, it's a bunch of gags for the first half. When I say that maybe 10% of the jokes land, that's probably being generous. I wasn't in an empty theater. There were people in there. These jokes were not landing, and they were meant to be. Robert Pattinson's doing a comedic performance. Don't get me started on Mark Ruffalo's performance. It just wasn't landing. There was a part in the film where, if you've seen this film, you'll know what I mean. This isn't a spoiler, but there are some people who are sitting down for dinner. It's the one dinner party in the film, so don't say to me, Tom, which dinner party were you referring to? It's the one dinner party in the film. I was literally watching it, that whole sequence, just going, what the fuck are we doing here? Why am I watching this? What's the point of any of this? The second half of the film turns into a science fiction film with the message. We love films with a social message. We've got to tell people about what we can't do in the world because we're movies. That's how movies should be, right? They should tell you what's good in the world because we're Hollywood and we know what's good for everyone. The second half of the film is a anti-colonization, be nice to the indigenous people of the planet that you're on or the country that you're in. District 9 Avatar ripoff. We've seen this before. Be nice to the locals because they were there first. You've seen it a million times, but done way better. Why is that tacked on to the end of this clone movie about clones? What's it got to do with anything? Pick one. Moon, Sam Rockwell, clone movie, in space. So good. Has things to say about how we perceive ourselves. Ask the big questions. District 9, heavy-handed upon a rewatch, but good. Really good. Goated, actually. I won't say a bad word about it, but don't colonize. Don't be racist. There's an apartheid in Johannesburg. I wonder what it's saying. It's obvious, but it does it for the whole film, and it's good, and it's got a clear message. This has, don't colonize, life is valuable, so don't clone. Veganism is good, don't hurt animals. Trump is bad, we've got a Trump impression, and it all comes to nothing. Grant, I'm telling you, maybe 10%, probably more 8 to 7% of the jokes land here. Comedy's hard, dude. Comedy's hard at the best of times. Comedy's hard for funny people. Comedy's hard for people that speak English. Bong Joon-ho, I didn't want to be racist in making this comment, so before I filmed this review, I went and checked how much English Bong Joon-ho speaks, and he has translators on the Stephen Colbert Show. He doesn't speak English. It's not his first language. Imagine going and making a comedy in a different language to the first one that you speak. There's so much that you don't understand. It's not just words on a page. There's vibe, there's timing, there's American comedy, there's British comedy, there's Australian comedy. What's doing? It's not your fault, Bong Joon-ho, that none of this landed, but I mean, it is your fault. You're the director. You made the film. You also wrote it. Or co-wrote it at least. So yeah, it's your fault. But no one expects you to be able to make a sharp, witty comedy with like mile-a-minute jokes in English. I've seen Memories of Murder. Fantastic. Okja is your other thing. And that's what I noticed about this film. The CGI on the alien creatures looks so similar to Okja. They've got that grey, like, staticky kind of... I don't know, you know what I mean if you've seen both. It's a very specific type of computer-generated image. And I noticed that, and that's all I have to say about it. When I talk about this film not working, Mark Ruffalo is doing, at the start of the film, it's like, oh, he's just being a zany dictator. He's got these big veneers in, he talks with his hands a lot. And at the start of the film, I just thought, oh, okay, that's Mark Ruffalo doing like a weird role. No, as it develops, he's just becomes Trump, like literally Trump, and he's so clearly based on Trump. His followers like wear red hats. There's an assassination attempt on him, and he dodges it, and it's a bad Trump impression. And it's so like, what are we doing? What are we saying here? It's so heavy-handed. It's like, okay, like Mark Ruffalo's playing Trump, and all these people are here because Bong Joon-ho won an Oscar. But can you imagine getting on set and like buying into that? And Mark had to be like, okay, like, yeah, I'll do the Trump thing. Like, let's see where this goes. Man, oh man, it does not work. There are so many different things that are set up and then just left. This is in the trailer. It's on the poster. We get multiple Mickeys. So you're supposed to, every time one Mickey dies, then you print out another one. We come to a situation where, whoops, we get 2 Mickeys at once. At this point in the film, we've already seen a bunch of other Mickeys come through, and they're all pretty similar. They're all Mickey's personality, which is a bit of a pussy. He's like, he's a loser. He's a bit of a bum. His personality is the same across multiple clones of Mickey, so much so that he develops a relationship with another girl who falls in love with him. And she doesn't go, oh, you're a different Mickey this time. You're a different Mickey this time. When we get our multiples in the film, for some reason, the new Mickey is just mean. Both our Mickeys are completely different personality types. Not just one's an extrovert and one's a bit of an introvert. No, like one's like a murderous psychopath and one is like a coward. Maybe that's an interesting thing to explore of why are there different personality traits from clone to clone to clone. No, we don't explore it at all. One guy, I imagine, should just service the plot because you need these guys to verse each other. They can't get along, otherwise where's our conflict? This film sets up so many things. I don't know if there's a half hour of footage that was cut from this film, but there's a lot of things set up here. There's characters in here who were brought in and then just disposed of. There's a plotline about Mickey's backstory and him driving in the car with his mum when he was really young. They do all this setup for it. They spend so much time on it and they drop it. It goes nowhere. It's like an integral part of his life. It's this core memory of his. There's a conversation about the 2 Mickeys' different interpretations of that memory. And they set that up really well, and it goes nowhere. It's like they forgot to leave a scene in the film. They set up a really interesting relationship dynamic. Mickey, when he's just solo Mickey, when he's Mickey 17 and there's no multiple Mickeys yet, is in a relationship with one of the guards on the ship. When we get a second Mickey, they go to have a threesome and doesn't go well. Like it's a funny scene, but that's really interesting, right? Who is she gonna love? Which one? Is this gonna be a polyamorous thing? Goes nowhere. They play the threesome scene for laughs and then it's over. And then she doesn't have to choose between either of them. There's no Sophie's choice. There's no reason she likes one more than the other. She doesn't have to choose between the pussy. I think, Gran, that's all I got to say on this one. I don't colonize anyone. I know not to do that now. Don't eat animals that are innocent. Don't kill baby animals because that's mean. Evil dictators are bad. And also, if you're a clone or you wake up one day and there's 2 of you, try to have a threesome with your girlfriend because that'll be funny and you should do that. for laughs. So I think Bong Joon-ho explored the human condition pretty well. Yeah, I think so. And I might go rewatch District 9. Grant, I know, you want my rating, I know. I'm thinking a 3.4 on this one. Not very high, is it? No, not a very good film, is it, Grant? No, Bong Joon-ho. You asked, I told you. Not a big fan of this one. And then Grant says,